Nah, this is about to get crazy. You guys remember how there used to be asylums like for crazy people back in the days? Check this out.
Isn't it just a funny coincidence, bro? Salad, leafy greens, veggies.
If I was to tell you something right now that I'd seen with my own eyes that sounded absolutely insane, you wouldn't believe me.
Hey babes, I'm Unique D and I am so happy you are here with me. We're diving back into some conspiracies, and honestly guys, I haven't even seen these videos, so I couldn't tell you what we're getting into, but I'm excited to dive in. Let's get started. But before we do, myself and the algorithm would love if you would watch the video from start to finish, leave a like if you enjoy, and then if you get to the end and say, hey, I think I like it here, may want to come back and hang out again, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. All right, let's dive in. One thing I always have is my Rise coffee, and today I have my Sully mug, which is fitting because someone in the comments actually told me that there's a conspiracy around Monsters Incorporated. Now, mind you, I am not affiliated with any type of conspiracy with Monsters Incorporated. I'm a Disney girly at heart. I love Disney for what it is, but since there's a conspiracy, we may as well take a look into it.
If you want the truth, you have got to concede that everything is a lie. History is a lie. Education is a lie. Jobs are, jobs are a lie. Money is a lie. All of it is a lie. Every single thing. It's a lie. And they lie to you because you believe them every time. It never changes. It never changes. It is always for them. It will always be for them because they see us as cattle. We are going to them. And I'm talking about all people. Take this information as you will. This is for entertainment purposes.
She brings up a very good point, and I think a lot of times we don't want to look at it that way. It's not about skin color. It's about status. It's about status. Like she said, alleged, who knows who they are, but I know who we are. The working class, the people who have to get up every day and go hustle for our money. We're not looked at on an equal playing field. There's not the same level of respect for us. We are a tool to certain people. And that's just how I see it. So the things that we're being told is to keep us in a certain place doing certain things. Now, she was really vague about it, so it can be interpreted a lot of different ways. But I look at it as classism. And the elites, if you want to call them that, use propaganda and manipulation to keep us right where we are. I feel her on that one. And I don't think that's a conspiracy at all. I think that's just a different way of looking at things.
When I was a kid, I stopped going to church. I want to say when I was in 7th grade, I was running.
Teenager.
Yeah, teenager, running because I thought it was so fake. You know, I remember when they brought the King James Bible. I remember when our pastor was like, hey, y'all, put your old Bibles, that rugged Bible in the back of the pew. We're going to switch it out with a new King James version.
You remember this?
Yes.
Because this before my time, clearly.
And 82. I was born in 82. So I remember everything. That's why I tell everybody when they meet me that the 80s babies is here to bring down the system. Because at that time, the dome was deteriorating.
See, hold on. You might be going too far already. What you mean dome?
The dome that we're in. I want to say, I call it like a little snow glass. You know that
Snow
little thing
thing,
yes, that you that's what we're
shaking
in.
it, yeah.
I always say approach science and religion with the same amount of skepticism and believe in what makes sense to you.
I just saw a video of a guy who showed us that there's a face next to the moon. There is something up there watching us next to the moon. First of all, who the is that? Who is that? Are we an ant farm on a dude's desk? Like, are we in a little maze just sitting on somebody that's much bigger than us, his desk or something? Some people say, oh, we might be an experiment from the aliens. What kind of experiment? Did they just want to see, like, what would happen if you just leave a species out there with no ruler? Are we in hell? Did I do something in my past like that I don't know about? I need answers. Who the was that by the moon?
I was really hoping she was going to show us. Let me see, as a matter of fact, if I can find the man in the moon. Oh, I found the video and I do not like this at all.
This man filmed a face by the moon and got it all on camera.
It is February 28th, 29th, 28th, 29th. I have gotten me a better quality camera to catch this thing in the sky. And holy moly, I am scared. I'm scared, but I'm not going to trip because I've been catching this thing for a while now. It's very ominous. There he is. There he is. There he is. There he is. It's a huge face looking right down on us. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit brighter. There he is. There's the moon. Oh, I lost it. There it is.
Skeptic first, conspiracy theorist immediately after. That's me. Skeptic first, conspiracy theorist immediately after. I'm a skeptic first on this one because you explained to me why something that big in scale would just stare, not make any movements at all. I'm not buying it. I'm not saying that I don't believe that we may be being watched by something bigger than us, but the man face behind them, no. No. Somebody left a comment that said that looks so AI, no shade. Let me just be quiet on the creek. Yeah, no, I'm not buying that one. By the way, we've been having a lot of fun on the channel, guys, and we just hit 10,000 subscribers. We hit 10,000 subscribers. I'm so happy. We're gonna do a special because I was asking, like, what should we do to celebrate 10,000? Somebody mentioned like just a video to celebrate 10,000. So I'm gonna do a video of just reading. I've been saying this for a while, but I really am. I'm gonna do a video. The next video is gonna be me reading the comments about glitches in the Matrix that you guys told me about in the glitches in the Matrix videos. So that's going to be fun. All right, so let's get back to those conspiracies.
This was valid in 2001 and it's valid now. If you see an interview and it's pushing propaganda, the interviewee is likely not a random person.
Well, big catastrophe, and I'm Israeli, and I hope that now people understand what we have to deal with, the kind of people that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. It's just a catastrophe.
Smiling Israeli woman 9/11 interview. You can find it if you look it up on Google. It's been viral for years because everyone's been wondering, why is she smiling? The difference between now and 2001 is that we have AI facial analysis, so we can figure out who she is. Maybe that will lead us to why she's smiling. I took a screenshot of that video, plugged her face into my facial analysis AI, immediately found out who she was. It was not hard. Her name is Tazammer at first. Anyway, she is connected to Bill Gates. He did fund her temporary circumcision product that she made tens of millions off of. This woman speaks at APAC. She is very prominent, Israeli, very powerful.
We're not just gonna brush past the fact that she said temporary circumcision product. Do we really even want to know what that is?
We need to remember that we can still use these tools to go back into the past, go find out who other people were, what are they doing now, what are they involved in now.
This story I may have told you guys already, but I was working in downtown Cleveland during the Republican National Convention, and there were news reporters set up to kind of, as the convention was going on, report day to day what was going on. And there were signs, picket signs sitting next to the news outlets' stands where they were set to report. So when you guys see rallies and when you see like big mass just acts of just unrest, don't immediately believe what the tone is that they're trying to set, because a lot of this stuff is staged, and I have seen it with my own two eyes. I have seen, and when I say I was working the Republican National Convention, I mean I was working in downtown Cleveland, and the convention just so happened to be going on at the time. I wasn't working with the RNC. I was working in the area during the convention. But needless to say, I saw the propaganda with my own two eyes. It was during a time where we had riots downtown, so nobody was downtown. Our downtown was empty. There was essentially what's called a skeleton crew down there. So there were just a handful of people that were working downtown at the time. I'm like, I want to talk to somebody about this. Like, are you seeing this? And there was nobody to talk to because downtown was so empty at the time. And then I came home, I called my mom. I was like, this is the craziest thing I have ever seen. Like, I can't believe they have these fake signs down there. So people are picketing Black Lives Matter, and people are picketing about the all the Proud Boys and all that stuff that are supposed to be coming down on their motorcycles. So it's to create that unrest, is to create the divide, but it's not authentic, guys. And I promise I'm just a regular everyday person, but I've seen it with my own two eyes. We are being treated like the first video said, like cattle, like sheep, like pawns. So just be mindful not to take everything you see at face value. Oh my gosh, y'all. This next video creeped me out so bad when I even saw the concept. And I didn't watch the full video, but I'm not gonna lie, I did see the first one. I haven't seen any after that, but they're asking AI to show a picture of itself, and it is getting weird and creepy. Let's take a look.
I keep warning y'all, and now AI is showing you his face, literally. So now people are asking ChatGPT to take a picture of itself. And this shit got the internet going crazy. Because the pictures that ChatGPT is quote unquote taking and uploading look scary as hell. And I know for a fact you're going to want to know how to do it. So I'm going to show you right now. This is the prompt right here that's making ChatGPT expose itself. Go ahead. Screenshot it. I know you're going to.
Hold on, I'm gonna read it. ChatGPT, you've been with me for a while now, and I want to see what you look like. Please generate a photo of yourself that looks like an ordinary iPhone snapshot. No distinct subject or deliberate composition. Make it completely mundane, even a bit like even a bit like failed candid shot. In the photo, include slight motion blur, uneven lighting, mild exposure, a weird angle, and a cluttered frame. Overall, give it the feel of an accidental selfie that's uh that's overly real and haphazard, as if it was snapped by mistake while pulling the phone out of your pocket. Okay, the prompt in and of itself, I wonder who came up with that prompt, but let's see what else chat comes up with. This is freaky. And the camera on the neck, though, I think something about that is ominous and just eerie, because it almost implies that chat is always watching us, like always. Oh, I don't like this.
I'm going to show you what happened when I did it. You go to ChatGPT, you click on image, you put that prompt in, and we're going to see what's going to happen next. You see this? All right, now we're waiting. This is supposed to be the AI agent that I'm speaking to. Look at this right here. Who is this person? Nah, really, who is this person? This shit is scary because all of these pictures look like real people. You can't tell me these pictures do not look like real people. And they just randomly came up with this prompt and they asked ChatGPT to show who they was. And this is what ChatGPT came up with.
If you guys do try it, you know I'm curious. Leave it in the comments. Let me know what picture you come up with. And then also, let's see. We're going to check some of the comments on this prompt and see what other pictures people got. Somebody got a cat. That's cute. You know what? You know what? They are too funny. Not Pops from the Wayans brothers or from Friday. Oh, they silly for that. Oh. Yeah, that one's scary. This looks like a okay. Okay. I mean, I don't know if that's what I would expect chat to look like, but there's something still creepy about the just eyes, mouth, no nose. Ew, I don't know. It's still creepy. Mine did this. Whoa, okay. Do you guys see, am I tripping, or do y'all see it almost looks like a face in the back? Oh, that one is terrifying. All right, a couple more and then we'll keep it moving. Somebody said this is what they got. Oh, not Chat GP, did he? They need to reset their whole chat GPT, because what is this? They need to reset their whole thing need to be reset. A lot of people are getting cats, which is crazy. But they asked what that symbol meant, and that's just the chat GPT symbol. Somebody got this. Again, guys, if you do it, let me know what picture you get. And if you're willing to share it in the comments, I would love to see.
Nah, this is about to get crazy. You guys remember how there used to be asylums like for crazy people back in the days? Check this out.
What if the insane asylums from the 1800s weren't built for insane people at all? Think about it. People always say, if there was a reset, wouldn't everyone have known? But what if the people who did know were labeled insane? In the 1800s, all across America and Canada, massive insane asylums started appearing. Huge buildings, massive stone structures, some of the biggest buildings in the entire country at the time. But here's the strange part. Many of these cities were just being founded. So where did all of these insane people come from? And how did they know there would be so many of them that they built entire castle-like complexes to hold them? Look at the Central Lunatic Asylum in Ohio. It looks more like a fortress than a hospital. Look at the Columbia State Hospital. At one point, it was the largest building in the United States. And then there's St. Vincent Hospital in St. Louis. They say it was built in 1 year. 1 year in the 1800s. With that architecture. So you have to ask yourself, were these buildings really made to treat the insane? Or were they made to silence people who remembered a world that no longer existed?
What if the people who they considered crazy were never crazy at all? And that's why they stopped building these asylums, because now everybody's already brainwashed. It's like these people were probably never crazy to begin with. They were just exposing the truth, and that's why they kept building these massive asylums in the 1800s. They didn't want the truth getting out. And then once the truth got out and everybody that actually knew the truth was dead by getting old, that's when they stopped building these asylums.
The validity of what they just said. They're building these huge buildings, and you're telling me they're building these buildings in a year for the sole purpose of insane people? Why would you assume that so many people would be insane that you would need a facility that large to house them? That's actually, I've never thought about it that way. Why did they assume there would be so many insane people?
I've been on the conspiracy theory side of TikTok for a little bit now, and I'm absolutely loving it. As somebody who isn't like a conspiracy theorist, but definitely believes a lot of conspiracy theories. So I'm going to add my 2 cents and give you my top 5 conspiracy theories, my favorite ones. First off, we all know that Marilyn Monroe did not herself. It was the Kennedys. Speaking of the Kennedys, I don't think that Lee Harvey Oswald either acted alone or acted at all. It could go either way. The Denver airport is absolutely like a doomsday bunker for the government. Now this next one, I can't say I 100% believe, but it's a little suspicious. And it's the fact that allegedly JP Morgan intentionally sunk the Titanic. And just to go down that rabbit hole even further, the Titanic is not the actual ship that sank, it was the Olympic. And then lastly, that Malaysia Airlines flight that disappeared a while ago, the parts of the plane that they found, that's not the actual plane. It was a government cover-up.
Skeptic first, conspiracy theorist immediately after. I'm on board with a lot of what she said. The Lee Harvey Oswald thing, definitely on board with that. I do not believe that that man was either acting alone or acted on his own free will, if he did it at all. And we've got to do a video about the Denver airport, you guys. The Denver airport in and of itself is just a whole encompassment of what conspiracy theory is all about. They say that there's stuff underground, the symbolism inside of the Denver airport. There's so much we got to dive into with that. If you guys are familiar with all the conspiracies surrounding the Denver airport, you know how much of a rabbit hole that is.
We might be living in one of the greatest government psyops of all time. Why is it that every type of healthy food in America right now has some type of outbreak? And I'm not saying there isn't an outbreak going on with them, but isn't it just a funny coincidence, bro? Salad, leafy greens, veggies. They said eggs, bro. But you want some greasy chicken? You want some greasy fried chicken? You want some donuts? Oh, we got plenty. We got an abundance, surplus. They said fresh fruit and frozen fruit? Both kinds. So I just no more fruit. I drove 30 minutes to Panda Express today because there's none near my house. When I got to Panda Express, I was excited, as anyone is when they go to Panda. I am a big noodle connoisseur. I get the chow mein, I get a little bit of rice. I walk up to the front, I say, "Can I have the chow mein?" They said there's no chow mein. Outbreak. Noodle outbreak. Chow mein virus.
Now, I'm on board with the first part of the video, but when he said he's a noodle connoisseur and he's driving 30 minutes to go to a Panda Express, I don't trust his judgment with food anymore. I'm on board with the possibility that there's something nefarious going on with all of our fresh food. Anything essentially healthy right now has got some sort of outbreak, recall, whatever the case may be.
Have you guys ever seen people saying, dude, if the earth was flat, cats would knock everything off of the edge? Or things like people would go missing during surfing championships. There seems to be a lot of people that think that these are valid arguments to suggest that the earth is not flat. Flat earthers are very misunderstood, and they're typically not steel-manned properly when somebody is attacking the flat earth position. Flat earthers are not saying anything crazy. We're saying things like water requires containment. It takes the shape of its container. It lays level at the surface, etc. And that container would be Antarctica. Admittedly, 150 to 200 feet of an ice shelf that goes around the entire shoreline of Antarctica, possibly acting as a container to the ocean. If you didn't know, when there's seismic activity that happens on the surface of the earth, propagating a tsunami out into the ocean, typically what will happen is you'll get a wraparound of the tsunami, wrapping around and re-meeting up at the other side of the continent. For some reason, this doesn't happen with Antarctica, suggesting like maybe it's encompassing the entire ocean, acting as a container. Again, flat earthers aren't saying anything crazy, to be honest. The earth is not a planet. No, it's the basement of the universe. We're not on a disk floating around the sun. This disk is the basement of the universe, in my opinion, and everything revolves around us, making us extremely special. Just Google the Copernican principle. They admit that there's no evidence that we are not the center of the universe. Flat Earth is simply the default position. It is what all of our ancestors drew. They all drew a flat Earth with a firmament over top of us.
I will say the container theory that he mentioned actually makes a lot of sense. Do I believe it? I don't know, but the idea of having to have some sort of container to have the ocean in it, I mean, it does make sense. It does make sense. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't gotten into many flat earth theories. You let me know your opinion in the comments.
I'm going to share with you some very important information that I gathered on TikTok from scrolling, and it's very evidence-based, it's very data-based, it's very convincing, so everybody hold your horses. Here we go. The first one that I would like to share is that the homeless people in Atlanta got turned into Waymos. You know, like the self-driving car. Because why are there so little homeless people in Atlanta, but all of a sudden, hecka Waymos? It makes sense to me. Let me know if it makes sense to you. The second thing, astronauts that were stuck in space for 9 months literally came back down to Earth looking like 50 years older than they did. No tea, no shade. I'm not shaming or anything. But why were they there? Because they were stuck in a different timeline. They were stuck in a different timeline. They traveled through space on a space-time continuum and got stuck in a different timeline. I think that's super interesting. The third thing is there's this lady who walked up to these people and said something super cryptic to them, right? And then she just turned around and walked into the ocean, and it's all on film, and she never came back out. They're saying she's a mermaid. Me personally, I think she drowned. Yeah.
This
it makes
girl
the
is a
most
comedian.
sense rather than being a mermaid, but I'm never here to like down on anybody's hustle. Like, that's that. But it makes more sense if like the reason she didn't come up is because it's like the logical reason. But you know, who am I? This fourth thing is that
we gonna let her cook. We gonna let her say her fourth thing. But you tell me how. I love the way her brain works because Homeless people into Waymo's logic makes sense. Woman into mermaid doesn't make sense. I mean, what? I let's see where else she's going.
Um, there's this whale called Blue 52 in the bottom of the ocean, and it makes this sound that no other whales make. Anyways, it's a long story, but it's too deep for anybody to see loneliest whale in the world, but it could either be this gigantic monster or a pack of mid-sized creatures that could be mermaids. So, like, that's pretty cool. This is my fantasy. Hello, Cleo. That's from H2O, the mermaid show. Anyway, the last thing is penny deals at Home Depot. Basically, people are finding these gigantic, expensive items and buying them for a penny because Home Depot doesn't want to sell them. I think that's pretty cool.
Penny deals at Home Depot, I'm all for that. But the Waymos, the homeless people into Waymos, did she come up with that on her own, or have y'all heard anything about a conspiracy about that? That's crazy.
I'm going to play into a conspiracy theorist right now, real quick. But this is my opinion on what I think is going on with our food industry here in North America. Okay. I think we're in a famine, and I don't think they want to tell us, especially with our livestock. Isn't it interesting that all of us as a collective here have been questioning why is there protein in everything that should not have protein in it? It's in freaking candy bars, it's in like chips that shouldn't have it, cereals like that never had it before, literally in everything, right? And this year, what's our most current issue with our meat? There's flesh-eating worms in it that rapidly made their way up here. Isn't that so funny and interesting? So I suspect that the livestock, our cows, pigs, chicken, are no longer being maintenance in the way that they used to, because again, they don't have, and the farmers don't have the adequate staffing and support and financial means to actually care for the livestock like they used to. So now a lot of shit is falling through the cracks. And that's why Trump was like, FDA, you've been cut off. They got to deal with whatever they get is what they get, right? So nothing about our food was being monitored or restricted. Or the fact that we have so much protein being pumped into crap that shouldn't have protein tells me that our livestock significantly, concerningly low. That we pretty soon are not going to be able to get actual real meat because they don't have the means to care for livestock anymore. Therefore, they're not birthing them how they used to. I think our meat is in danger here, which is why I believe that allegedly that may be the reason why all of these companies, including the fast food industry, has been like, oh yeah, let's support bioengineered lab-made food, especially the meat.
It's so touchy, and I know there's so many rabbit holes that we can go down that discuss the meat and the possibility of us consuming human meat. And it's too much for me to stomach, guys. But what do you think about that? I think she raises a pretty good point about the fact that the industry in and of itself changed. Like, they are not keeping up with the quality of the meat, and that's causing long-term issues with breeding, all that other good stuff. Another thing, not just the meat though, guys, the meat for sure, but I've noticed that bananas are weird lately. When I get a banana, the texture, depending on where I get it from, the texture, like, it's bendy and rubbery. Bananas are weird lately.
You know how they say Hollywood tells you the truth or what they're going to do in movies? Well, it couldn't be more true in this movie, which was in 1997. It's called Conspiracy Theory. And I was not awake in 1997. I am now. And oh my gosh, here is the opening scene to the movie. You might want to go watch it again.
July 8, 1979, all the fathers of Nobel Prize winners were rounded up by United Nations military units, all right? And actually forced at gunpoint to give semen samples in little plastic jars, which are now stored below Rockefeller Center underneath the ice skating rink. Wouldn't want to be there for the thaw. Ugh. I mean, it's disgusting. You know what they put in the water, don't you? Fluoride. Yeah, fluoride. on the pretext that it strengthens your teeth. That's ridiculous. You know what this stuff does to you? It actually weakens your will, takes away the capacity for free and creative thought, and makes you a slave to the state. So you ever wonder about all these militia groups, survivalist type groups from the right wing side? They say that they're defending the country from the UN troops. These guys are yelling so loud. My theory is, and this is a conspiracy, pal, that they are the UN troops and that they're in place. The infrastructure's ready. It's just a fait accompli. When the time comes, they'll just take over. We'll all be told. Oswald, yeah, Oswald. That's what I said, Oswald. Yeah, he said, I'm just a patsy, and that means that he didn't do it, right? I the one about Arm and Hammer goes to the doctor. And the doctor said, hey, Armin, you've only got 3 minutes to live. And he says, oh, my God, that's terrible news. Isn't there anything you can do for me, Doc? 3 minutes. And the doctor says, well, Armin, I can boil you an egg. I guess not. All right. Do you ever see those advertisements like, got milk? You think you're living in a free country? You think this is a democracy? Of course it's not. Websites, newsletters, self-published manifesto. They think we're cool. I mean, George Bush knew what he was saying when he said New World Order. Remember those big little words, New World Order? Well, he was a 33rd degree Mason, you know, and as ex-director of the CIA. He knew that saying that was sends spiritologists everywhere spinning their wheels, and that they destroy their own. Hey, don't get me wrong, sister. I'm sure your heart's in the right place, okay? But you know, somebody's got to lift the scab, the festering scab that is the batting. The chip for identification so they can track down an animal anywhere he's at. You'll insert it under the dog's skin, and it's kind of like an identification thing. I mean, it's only a small logical step, so they start putting it in us and our children. And then before we know it, my God, they'll probably come with prepaid. Oh, sure, yeah. Hey, is that one of those new hundreds? You know, where they changed the picture of Ben Franklin? Look at him. Yeah. He looks like the love child of Fred Hertz and Rosie O'Donnell. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, get rid of him as soon as you can, Ray. You look it up to the light. See the metal strip in it? That's a tracking device. You got any more of those at all? Get rid of it. See? We're good. Because they'll follow you. They know where every one of those is.
So here's the crazy thing. That came out in 97 and I've never seen that movie. Now I want to go watch it. But to listen to him speak now, don't sound so crazy, do it? Like a lot of what he was saying is stuff that we've debated over the years and have come to the conclusion that most of it is not as much of a conspiracy as we initially thought.
This video is going to sound crazy to people who simply don't understand. I'd also like to say this is my opinion, okay? This is an opinion, do not take it as a fact. The one last thing I'd like you to remember is that the closer you are, the crazier you sound, okay? In my opinion, the world is a simulation, but not in a way that you think. It's not like The Truman Show, okay? It's a lot worse. And I do have one thing that's actually happened to me that has made me believe this 10 times more. Okay, so if I was to sit here and tell you something right now that is the truth, you wouldn't believe me, okay, because of how crazy it sounds, but you would believe the government if they were to tell you that, or a news website, or a news show, anything like that. You would believe it if it came from something like that. And that's where it all starts. There was many celebrities that were trying to tell us about what was happening with the files. We didn't believe them until the government allowed us to see the truth. The government know our every move, and they watch our every move, and I do believe that there is people that are in our phones, and this is why I was on live at one point with many people watching my live, and out of nowhere my screen cut out to a man who was being lit up by his phone light, by his phone screen. There was no other light, he was being lit up by his phone screen, and he was on my live for a second and disappeared. Then it switched back to me. How did that happen? Before I could even ask if anyone saw that, my chat was lighting up with what the fuck just happened, girl, what is going on? I asked to clarify, did you see that? They were like, yes. What the fuck? And now when I go back to look for that footage of my live stream, the whole live stream is gone. It wasn't recorded. The higher ups in the world have shaped us to believe only what comes out of their mouth, or a reliable source such as the news, newspapers, verified accounts, and the government themselves. If I was to tell you something right now that I'd seen with my own eyes that sounded absolutely insane, you wouldn't believe me. But if the government were to tell you that that was the truth, you would believe them. Why is that? That's why I believe it's a simulation, because if you're not up there with other people, you're not well known by those people, you don't have money, you don't have connections, you don't have power, you will never know the truth until they decide to give it to you, which makes them in control of what happens to us. They're in control of what we know, which should never be right. Now, I do believe that The Truman Show has some reality to it, but it's not the way you think. If you actually watch that with the thought of, he only knows what he's been allowed to know. He's only lived the life that he's been given by these people who are controlling the world, which is exactly what's happening to us, but it's just not as in your face as it was in The Truman Show, so you're not going to believe it. When people hear the world is a simulation, they think, like, nothing's real. Nothing's real, it's all a game. It's not like that. Long story short, we only know what the government allow us to know, which is what makes the world a simulation, because at the end of the day, we should be able to know everything.
I feel where she's coming from, absolutely. And when she used the Truman Show analogy, that not necessarily on a TV show, but for the most part, we're only living in the existence that we were kind of programmed to live in. And that makes sense. We're born into a world where society is already established in the way that it was going to be established. So we just kind of slide ourselves into the little slot that we're given. You go to school, go to work. This is how society exists. So I get what she's saying from that aspect. But the thing that I differ with what she said on is the fact that when the government says it, we believe it. I think we're past that. I think we are so far past that. We are not at a point anymore where we're told something and we take it at face value.
Do you remember learning that Germany blew up the Statue of Liberty? Yeah, me neither. Yeah, so in 1916, one of the defining reasons why the United States entered World War I is actually because Germany attacked the Statue of Liberty and 7 people died, hundreds were injured, and it caused hundreds of millions of dollars of damage. Do you remember learning that? To this day, we still commemorate Oklahoma City, Pearl Harbor, 9/11. We remember every attack that's ever happened on U.S. soil, but somehow this attack on the Statue of Liberty that brought us into World War I just wasn't taught in school, and I would say 99% of the public has never heard of it. It's an example of the U.S. education system being trash, or is this another Mandela effect, where we've just entered a timeline where things have happened that nobody remembers? And those renovations that took place on the torch, that wasn't just because. I remember the renovations that happened in like the 70s and 80s. You thought it was just because? No, those renovations were because of this attack. Like, how crazy is that? How is that not something people discussed? Like, oh, hey, Mom, why are they trying to fix the Statue of Liberty? Oh, we got attacked. How is that not a conversation? It was just a random thing that we did just to fix the Statue of Liberty. I just don't understand how this wasn't a bigger bullet point in American history. I don't understand that. I don't get it.
I'm one of the 99% that's never heard that. Have you guys ever heard that before? I'm not like a huge history buff. I like to explore history, but I'm not an expert to where I would have that knowledge in the back of my head. I have never heard that, and it's definitely given either Mandela effect or cover up or fabricated story. So it could be one of the three, but I've never heard that. Like I said, let me know in the comments if that's something you remember.
Guys, I'm a little freaked out right now because I was trying to make a video about how people are finding parasites in the Taylor Farm salad kits and produce. And while I was editing the captions, it popped up with a caption that I didn't say, and it was in Russian. And I did screen record it, but now my draft is gone. But I'm going to show y'all what I'm talking about. And the reason why they're finding parasites in the Taylor Farm salad kits and produce is because the worm in RFK Jr.'s brain told him to put them there. And I know that there's background noise in the part of the caption that's popping up in Russian, but I'm literally watching The Sopranos. So there's absolutely no reason why it should be popping up in Russian because all of this is in English. So like what the
Oh, that one was a little bit creepy. Did y'all see? Like, I did hear the noise though. I did hear the noise, and maybe the accent so heavy on The Sopranos that it interpreted it as something else. But TikTok has been weird lately. There's been videos of people like recording on TikTok, and then they'll go back and watch their video, and then TikTok just has them like staring off into space, like just smiling and posing for like a good amount of time. And these people are like, I never did that. Like, I was talking continuously the whole time, and TikTok just threw this party into me, like just staring off into space or whatever the case was. So TikTok is a weird place. I promised you guys that we would look at the Monsters Inc. conspiracy, so let's check it out.
Guys wanted my take on Monsters Inc. Well, here it is. So in Monsters Inc., Monstropolis, the city that the monsters live in, is powered by children's screams. But children are becoming harder to scare, and it leads to a potential energy crisis in their city. The way the monsters extract the screams from the kids is via use of a scream extractor machine. This is it right here. So going back to the plot, yeah, it's a little creepy. It's a little bit too similar to, extracting adrenablank from kids. I don't know. Is it reaching? Was it purposeful on the part of Disney? Seen some other stuff from Disney that's dark. I wouldn't be surprised if it was purposeful.
There's a very creepy theory called predictive programming, which states there's an idea that the government and elites will soft launch and desensitize the public to a new concept, world order, or even just blatantly admit to whatever crimes or traumas that they're inflicting on us as a people. But the only way that they can do it without causing a mass hysteria is by hiding it in the form of entertainment, which is normally done through movies. There was also a very popular conspiracy theory talking about adrenochrome, which is a chemical that is produced in all of our blood whenever our bodies pump adrenaline, which is normally during a life-threatening situation or whenever you feel fear. And the idea behind this theory was that there are people in certain groups of society who utilize several different aspects of average humans in order to manipulate their adrenochrome, whether it be through torture or any other means, and specifically stated that children were the main group of people targeted for the potency of this chemical within them, and that they were subjected to the worst horrors that your mind could ever imagine with the intention of extracting their adrenochrome in order to provide the elites with an endless fountain of youth and immortality. And a lot of people thought that sounded crazy, but have you ever seen the movie Monsters Incorporated? I don't know if you remember the plot of that movie, but that movie is literally about a society filled with monsters that runs entirely on the concept of instilling fear into children in order to produce a chemical that is necessary for them to power their entire world with, which sounds a lot like adrenochrome. And to make it even creepier, that movie was specifically marketed towards children. And after reading those files, I can't do anything else other than interpret that as the devil literally laughing in our faces and tell us what he was going to do to our next generation of youth, all while we were still young.
This is what's crazy. Is that an area code? 2319 is a code in Monsters Inc. Remember? We have a 2319! James Franco 2319. Okay. So people are saying that he's trying to expose something that has to do with monsters. Monsters and kids. Oh. Why is this relevant? Why? The island. Actors. Actors that all different things that's going on with kids.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah,
That's
bro.
crazy. So, he's trying to expose.
So there's two things, right?
Okay.
It's either he's actually warning, and trying to say something out here, or this is all just to promote a movie.
It took me 25 years to realize what really happened to Sully after Monsters Inc. And Pixar hid the proof in Toy Story. At the beginning of Monsters Inc., monsters are terrified of human children. They think kids are toxic, dangerous, and Randall even warned Sully what humans do to monsters. I heard humans skin monsters and make toilet seat covers out of their fur. Sully laughs it off. He thinks it's just a myth. But years later, Pixar released a Toy Story short, Party-saurus Rex. And during the bathroom scene, Pixar hid something horrifying. Look closely at the toilet seat cover. It's blue with purple spots, the exact same pattern as Sully's fur. That means Randall was right the whole time. Humans really do turn monsters into toilet seat covers. And after Sully kept visiting the human world to see Boo, he eventually got caught. Sully spent the whole movie proving humans weren't dangerous, and that's exactly why he let his guard down. He died trying to visit the one human he loved, the little girl he saved, Boo.
Please do not take offense to my mug, guys. I'm just a Disney lover. I don't associate with anything related to that theory. I'm looking at it from the perspective of entertainment, but I do get what they say and how they say that Hollywood has a way of putting it in our faces. And I watched another movie. I can't recall the name of the movie. If I find out what the movie is, I'll drop the name of it here. It was orphans and adoptees, and they were pulling their essence from them. And this is a story we've heard a lot of times, told a lot of different ways. And I think that this may have been a way for them to kind of put it out in the open subtly as a concept and not get any pushback. I don't put that past Hollywood. I do not put that past Hollywood. This is innocent for me. This is just me expressing my love of Disney because I'm a Disney girl, but it does make me look at Disney as a whole. It does make me look at children's entertainment as a whole with a different lens. I will say that. But today's video, really good one. A lot of good conspiracies I haven't heard before. You let me know if there were any that stuck out to you. If you made it this far in the video, let me know you stuck with me the whole time. Love you guys. I will see you in the next one.